Did I just have an explanation on the Dullahan and how they eat? Or talk? Holy shit. Like, I'm not even gonna joke. Like, I'm absolutely amazed. I'm blown away by this episode with trying to add real-life physics into the series to explain how Machi even is able to speak in the first place, or able to eat. Just, like, fucking mind-blowing. Like, my mind is just, boom, it's fucking gone, because I didn't think the series would go that far. I mean, we've already seen examples of the writer of the series trying to give a lot of details to certain mythical creatures, like demi-humans, like what we've seen with the Snow Woman, Yuki, Hikari, and then now this, I'm like, bro, like, yo, wormhole, like, a fucking wormhole, like, whoa. So you're telling me that Machi's head is connected to her body through wormhole. Like, you listen to this right now, like, straight up a fucking wormhole. And the way it was explained, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't calling straight bullshit. Like, I wasn't sitting there looking at it like, this just doesn't make any fucking sense, like it's just straight bullshit. I wasn't thinking that overall. I mean, there was probably some things in there that have way more knowledge to wormhole theory and stuff like that that might have solved some things that might not make sense. But overall, from what my understanding of it is, there was nothing in there that just smelled of bullshit. I'm like, just stop with this shit, you're embarrassing yourself. But I'm just gonna say right now that, like, that entire discussion, just the detail and the length of it, of explaining why Machi is able to consume food, what happens when, like, something goes down her throat and then it goes into her body, is because it's connected through wormhole. And I'm like, whoa. That's insane. It's fucking insane the way the writer wanted to go that far with it, just to explain something so simple, because, in all honesty, I didn't think, like, something like that would be tackled at all, especially in the series. I mean, I know this is a seinen. I know seinen can go very far with, its demographic, because, obviously, the demographic's meant for young adults to adults, and, obviously, seinen writers, they can do stuff like this. However, I just didn't think a slice-of-life series, like this, yes, it has, succubus, snow women, stuff like that, but it's still a slice-of-life series. At its core, it's just a regular slice-of-life series, but throwing in a little bit of supernatural elements, but overall, it's still, like, a slice-of-life, and it doesn't have that rom-com bullshit going on in fan service all the time. So, overall, it's a very good series that's actually being very mature with the way it displays itself throughout, the individual episodes. And I knew this series already had a very good foundation with what we saw earlier on in the series, with what Takahashi-sensei was doing with each individual character, just learning about them. However, I did not think the series would go this far with just explaining something so small that, honestly, I didn't think any writer would want to go back to. I mean, I would expect something like this from, like, a novel writer, like someone that's writing a light novel or a novel or something. I would expect something like this to be explained. However, I just never would have thought I would have saw something like this in an anime. Like, in a fucking anime, or even in a manga series, whatever. That's just how crucial it is, but how small in detail that I just can't believe the writer is willing to go that deep into it with the way this is being done. I just gotta clap. I gotta fucking clap. It's just the little things that really make a series so much better. I love good characterization, I love good plot, and all of that, but if there's one thing that I truly fucking love when it comes to me reading a series or watching a series, it's just the little tiny details that just make everything mesh together and work so much more, because it explains some things that you never really would have thought of, or you thought would never get explained. It's kind of like this: when you're watching a show, and you're wanting to get immersed into it or whatever, and you hear, like, sound effects, like you hear a character just walking, you hear those footsteps, you see them actually moving, and you actually see the walking animation, it looks really good with the backgrounds and everything, and then you hear the sound effects when they go to, like, reach for a door or whatever, and they open a doorknob, and you hear that sound effect, it just makes the actual scene so much better. It's just the little details that can make you appreciate certain scenes from a manga, anime, or even novels, and when you see something like this that dives in to just Machi being able to eat or speak, you're like, I'm able to appreciate her character and the writer even more now because of how the writer is willing to go that deep into their own series. So, just well done. Well done, Demi-chan. I already factored you in as probably one of my favorites of Winter of Anime 2017. Like, I've already said, this is by far one of my personal favorites so far from this season, and it is retained that spot throughout the season, and once again, it has surpassed all expectations just with this episode alone. Now, there is something that I do need to dive into, besides wormhole theory and all of that. There is something that is brought up in this episode that is probably going to be tackled in next week's episode or the episode after that. If I'm correct, we have about 2 episodes left, maybe 3. I don't know how many episodes we have left, and I think this is only going to be a 1-core series, so it's not going to be, like 24 episodes, so it's only going to be like 12 or so episodes. So, there was something in this episode that was very concerning, which could lead into the final plot point of, Demi-chan's anime series, and that was the vice principal, the dude in the suit, like the black suit, towards the beginning of the episode. I think that was the vice principal. I think it was. If I got that incorrect, please forgive me. Correct me in the comments below. However, though, that dude that was there standing beside the principal of the school, he seemed like he was very concerned about something. Like, he was, happy that Takahashi-sensei was, being nice to the Demis and all that. He was helping them out. He's being a good teacher. He's helping the school out, all this. He's just doing a lot of good deeds. But overall, with the way the vice principal reacted, or he was acting in that scene, it seemed like something else was going on there. It seemed like he was looking at Takahashi-sensei as someone that is a little bit off, or someone that's not working properly, or there's just something very suspicious about him or what he is doing. And there is a common theme in this episode that might actually point to what maybe that vice principal was talking about, or thinking about in his mind, not necessarily talking, just thinking about, and that is work ethics. So, when we think about this, we gotta realize, Takahashi-sensei, he's a good dude. We know as the viewer of the series, or if you read the manga, you know as the reader, that Takahashi-sensei is a very good person. He is a good man, and he is definitely someone you would want as a teacher, because he just looks out for you, he wants to help you out, and he doesn't look down on you and make you feel like absolute shit. He's willing to go the extra mile to help you out. That's the type of teacher Takahashi-sensei is. And honestly, I wish we had more teachers like that in the real world, because there is a lot of teachers, I'm not saying all, but a lot of teachers that will not go the extra mile or help out students or do good little deeds that they should do. And when I see something like this from a character like Takahashi-sensei, I'm like, this man is a truly good man. And because of this, we may be blinded to something that might be relatively off from this scene, which is, we know that he's a good man. He has no ulterior motives where he's trying to do some evil shit behind the scenes, but others on the outside, like, let's factor in the vice principal, he might look at Takahashi-sensei and be thinking, there's something off here. This man, he wants to know more about, Demis and all that, and, he's getting along with all these girls. What if he's taking advantage of them? That's what someone from the outside might think, that, Takahashi-sensei is taking advantage of the girls since they're just, schoolgirls. He might assume that Takahashi-sensei is taking advantage of them, and there's many ways this can go. Number one, he could assume that Takahashi-sensei is doing good things and all that, and making it look like he's doing good things, but overall he's using them to get research. Or number two, there's a relationship building here, which is not good for student-teacher relationship, because it might look like, it's going too far, especially towards the beginning, which, when you have it to where Machi was like, oh, I wish I could do that, and she was trying to go in for a kiss on Takahashi-sensei's cheek, which that's something that you normally wouldn't see from a normal student-teacher relationship, and so that also could be what the vice principal was concerned about. They're so close to him that there might be something going on there in terms of relationship, but then going one step further, it could be something else too. It could also be the fact that maybe the vice principal doesn't like Demis. Now, hear me out, and this is something that we have to factor in. We have seen relatively the good side of the world when it comes to Demi-chan. We have seen everyone be really accepting over Demi, snow women, vampires, succubus, and also, Duohan. We've seen accepting people. However, even though there's a lot of good people, there also is a lot of bad people. That's just how real life works. Even if there's a lot of good people around you, there's going to be some bastards out there that's just absolute assholes. And that is something that Demi-chan has not yet to tackle yet. That is something that the story from the anime so far has not dived into, and that eventually needs to be dived into. Because, I mean, if the writer is willing to dive into something as simple or something very little as Machi and how she consumes food to how she can speak, then eventually the writer is going to have to dive into prejudice. People that do not like Demis. People that fear Demis. People that just completely hate them. And obviously, a lot of hate in the real world, it doesn't make any sense. People hate people just for stupid fucking reasons, because they're just different. And obviously, there's going to be people in this world as well. And I wonder if the vice principal is kind of like that, like he has some form of prejudice towards Demis or whatever. And I do hope that if it is that, it is not used in a way to just start some random conflict just to kind of spice up, like, you know, a final couple episodes of Demi-chan's anime, because it would feel honestly a little bit shit. It would, because so far Demi-chan has had a very solid anime series, and it hasn't needed like melodrama, it hasn't needed fucking romance, fan service. It's been a relatively good anime series that hasn't had to rely on the common shit you would see from a slice of life series or, you know, a rom-com or whatever. It's just been chilling, being a very chill anime ride since the very beginning, and it has had some few scenes overall, but nothing to what we see normally in a slice of life. And I've been very appreciative of this series for that. And I really hope that the vice principal, if he is racist, like he doesn't like Demis, I hope that the man isn't just there to start melodrama. If he does hate them, I want a logical reason. Now, obviously, in real life, there's people that hate people just for no fucking reason at all, which, that would be realistic. It would, but still, I would like a very good reason. Not something that's all tragic and shit like we normally see. I would just like something that's decent, something that would fit what this series is, and hopefully, if that is what's going on there, it's fitting into the series just nicely. But judging by how the writer so far has been very good with its characters and everything thus far, I'm willing to bet you it's going to be completely fine. It just, that's my concern. As someone that has seen a lot of slice of life, rom-coms, other things like that, I just hope there's not melodrama added just for the sake of adding melodrama to spice things up. So yeah, I say overall, the episode of Demi-chan, probably by far my favorite episode yet. Hands down, it was the best. The reason why is because the little things. It's the little things that make any series turn from maybe a 7 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. And that is honestly how I feel about this series. Just little details like that make me appreciate it. It makes me appreciate why I started this series in the first place. So yeah, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.